Hello, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Tim Brooks with Worldwide Technology, and we are partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT's CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with a very accomplished CIO, Mr. Michael McCalmont. Hi, Mike.
Hey, good morning, Tim.
Good to see you. Hey, tell our audience a little bit about yourself and your background, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike McCalmont. I've been the CIO of several global multi-billion-dollar mid-sized companies. I have to look back on my career, Tim, as to what prompted me to become a CIO. I was one who originally started in operations management, background in mechanical engineering, got a chance early in my career to lead a global ERP project, and I was enamored by the ability of IT to change how a business operates on a global scale. And at that point in time, early in my career, I made a commitment to be a CIO. And I took a number of roles that were very, very deep in the ERP space, but recognized I needed, infrastructure and IT security. So went and did some divisional CIO roles leading up to then, the global roles in a multi-billion-dollar footprint, a space that I really, really enjoy. And those companies primarily focused on engineering, manufacturing, customer service at the heartbeat of what it takes to be a successful company.
And technology enables everything you just mentioned. So quite an experienced background. Share with our audience how many mergers, acquisitions, or spinouts have you been a part of?
Yeah, when I think back, Tim, it's been over 9 different type of M&A events. They've ranged from small, medium, and large on the purchasing side as well as on the selling side. But I didn't realize it until I thought through. I've been involved in a significant number of those and have learned a lot through the process.
So of all your learnings then, let's look back. What was the most challenging M&A event? Any war stories to share with us?
Yeah, I have to reflect back on 2021 was a great year for me, a learning year, an intense year. At ServiceMaster as a CIO there, we led a complete carve out of a business from the parent company, standing up a brand new cloud-based ERP system, an entire cloud-based infrastructure system, all new IT security tools. We stood up a new facility here in Atlanta and moved the business from Memphis, Tennessee to Atlanta, Georgia, all at the same time, all within 1 year. And during that major carve out, we also brought in 2 acquisition events at the same time as the business was set to be a platform for growth. So a significant year of learning, I think a very successful year of setting the business up for them to be able to begin their transformation and growth. But that first means separating from the parent company, which is what we led through, over the last year.
So all this during 2021, which of course, was the height of the pandemic. It was a pandemic year. So I got to ask, what challenges and how did you overcome aspects of the pandemic and getting everything done? I mean, that was a tremendous amount of effort you just mentioned.
Yeah, it's the same as I think the way the rest of the world is working, Tim. We did it almost entirely remote using conference technology. We had a fantastic partner. I would have to give kudos to Ernst & Young, who helped augment the team to lead us through this. But learnings were it can be done. And it is a new way of working. It was highly successful for us. And when I think back on it, it perhaps may have even allowed us to go faster. We didn't have the time lag associated with logistics and those number of things, which the number of meetings we packed into a day was certainly more dense than what we would have had we been on site. So there's likely some advantages in the fact is that we learned to make it work, and it was really a fantastic exercise for all of us and a great learning for all of us because we were chartering new courses as we did this.
I think for the reasons you just mentioned, what many of us have observed is that there's been some increases in productivity attributable to work from home and hybrid work environments, and that may be something that we all learn from going forward. Just an observation. I want to ask you, because we're talking about M&A, and of course, over the last 2 years, mergers and acquisitions have been at a near record pace in terms of what's been going on in the marketplace. For our audience, what are some of the advantages and risks that you're faced with large-scale M&A events?
Sure. Yeah, I look at, you clearly highlighted there's opportunities here, Tim. I've been throughout my career looked at the opportunity for M&A events to really recalibrate, the architecture of the business, to be able to look at, is it an opportunity to change? Is it an opportunity to, migrate or integrate, two companies that have disparate systems, one being better than the other? So there are clearly opportunities to be able to re-platform a company. We use this, we were doing a carve out and creating a brand new company. So we didn't have any, to be state that we were wed to. We had the opportunity to create what we felt was right. And so we made the investment in both time, resources, and money to be able to set a platform that was scalable for growth and was completely founded based upon cloud architecture. Now, on the flip side of that, I think of a couple big risks. Certainly, there's the factor of time. Most companies can't begin their growth curve and to be able to fulfill the investment thesis without being separate from the parent company. So there's just a lot of energy, and the longer that takes, the longer it takes to begin that growth trajectory. And clearly, there's financial risk as well. If the timing doesn't go right, that can also impact the initial thesis as well. But I also look at risks in terms of employees. We did have employees who were fearful of the new technology, but that yet they had legacy information that was going to be so critical for us to make that migration, and they felt threatened as a result of this. And it wasn't something that I anticipated at the front end, and we dealt with that. It did impact our retention numbers across the board, not only in IT, but across the business, as we were moving from a very, very legacy type footprint to a brand new cloud-based infrastructure in record time, within a course of a year, completely standing up a whole new brand new company on new systems. And that was a threat to folks, and we didn't make that transition as smoothly as we would have liked to in some cases.
Yeah, the change management aspect of it is something that prior to acquisition, in my experience, there's not a great deal of consideration given to it. It's about the business synergies. Sometimes it's about finance and other types of, traditional debt. But that change management part is oh so important. That's been what we've observed. I have a question for you, because you mentioned it now a couple times, and I think it's a fact of life here. And that is, there's the legacy model, data centers and IT, and then there's the cloud network, the cloud model. So share with us a little bit about how cloud-based networks and IT security tools in particular differ from the legacy model, because you've got experience in switching from a legacy model into cloud.
Yeah. Let me frame this. I have become a fan of the cloud-based tools. I will tell you, Tim, early on, I may have been a skeptic as to how different that they are, but after having lived through both worlds, I'm a fan. Let me just start with the infrastructure and the security tools. I find them to be, far more scalable, more easily deployable. On the IT security tool side, I have some experience in a legacy world running a legacy SIM system where we built our own rules, and we probably had a half an FTE just working false positives every day on the alerts. And we replaced it with a cloud-based application, and it went in with ease. And the number of false positives dropped significantly. When we did get alerts, they were very meaningful. It was a revolutionary change for us. Same thing on the IT security tools with cloud-based AV. Many of us have dealt a long time with the agent-based tools of the 2000s, and they constantly trying to upgrade them, fighting through compatibility, and the cloud-based tools just lay on top and work with so little overhead, just a breath of fresh air in that space. And then on the network side, I've become a fan of the Zscaler product. I know there's other out there, but in the legacy world, you have that whole concept of an internal network and the external internet, and there's different rules that apply and privileges if you're internal. When we moved to the cloud-based infrastructure, that line blurred. There was no such thing as an internal, external. As 100% cloud-based system, it was one network, and the way I would look at it, it accelerated our entrance into the zero trust, where that that validation and authentication occurred constantly throughout that employee's journey in connecting with our applications and our data. So it really step changed in the way that the security model worked that was different than the traditional architecture.
So what I'm hearing about that then is greater agility. It seems like with the example you gave of a half an FTE looking for false positives, you have a higher level of let's say quality assurance, if not risk assurance, and you've got greater productivity, which are all great benefits of the cloud-based architectures and the tools.
That was what our finding. Well stated.
Really, you've been great at sharing so much wonderful information with us today. I want to thank you for your time. Thank you, Mike McCalmont, for joining me today. I'm Tim Brooks with Worldwide Technology, and please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews in our CDO interview series. Thank you, Mike.
It's been my privilege, Tim.